Hey, First Form Latin, here we are again. We're on the last lesson of the book, lesson 34. Can you believe it? You just came off a week of review. So this is our second week in a row of review. I hope that you have all checked your answers in the workbook, and that if there's anything you got wrong and you don't know why you got it wrong, I need you to call me or email me. It's very important that you know why it's wrong. I don't expect you to do the answers all perfectly, but you do need to understand why the correct answer is the correct answer. Hopefully you are well on your way to getting, feeling really comfortable with that second conjugation, the principal parts, which, again, how did I say that you need to learn them? Repeat them, repeat them, repeat them, right? That's the key. Today we're going to do some sentences together. We're going to do a synopsis together. I hope that you have a pen or a pencil, that you have your student workbook and your student textbook. If you do not, please pause the video and go get them and come back. And you will notice when you open up your student textbook to page 84 that here we have a complete chart of a first conjugation verb, a second conjugation verb, and the be verb conjugated for you in the book. You need to be able to do that. Okay, you need to be able to do that. If you are not easily able to do that, you need to do a verb every day. You need to write one of these out every day. Also the be verb, you need to be familiar with it. You also need to be familiar with all your principal parts. Okay? But don't forget that you've also learned a lot of nouns in this book. We also need to remember all our nouns. And so you can go back to the previous reviews where it has all your nouns listed for you and your adjectives. Please keep reviewing those. As a review together, let's go through all our declension endings out loud. Here we go. First declension. A, arum, is, as, is. They're all feminine except for poet, sailor, farmer. Second declension. Us, o, orum, is, as, is. They're all masculine. Second declension neuter. O, a, orum, is, a, is. They're all neuter. That's why they're second declension neuter. Third declension. X, is, ema, s, ebus, s, ebus. They are a hodgepodge. You got to learn them. Fourth declension. Us, ui, u, us, ebus, us, ebus. They're all masculine except for house and hand. Fifth declension. S, aem, s, arum, abus, s, abus. They're all feminine except for day. ds is masculine. Okay, so do not forget how to do those while you're spending all your time doing the verbs. All right, now let's go ahead and let me get my whiteboard, scoot over. Let's do a synopsis of arrow. I wander, or I err, okay? Let's do arrow. Get myself positioned here. What are the principal parts of arrow? It's a normal first conjugation verb. Arrow, errare, erravi, erratus. Remember, this is our normal standard first conjugation. So, for example, porto is porto, portari, portavi, portatus. Laudo, laudo, laudari, laudavi, laudatus. There are 4 that are irregular though. Let's do them. Do, dari, dedi, datus. Sto, stari, steti, status. Lavo, lavari, lavi, lautus. Uvo, uvari, uvi, utis. Okay. Let's do first person plural. Did I do that one last time? Maybe. We. All right. And we're going to do it in the present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, future perfect. Here we go. Present tense. Ero, eros, erot. Eramus, eratus, erant. So we have eramus. We err. We are erring. We do err. Imperfect. Erabam, erabas, erabat. Erabamus, erabatus, erabant. So we have erabamus. We were erring. Future. Arabo, arabis, arabit, arabimus, arabitus, arabunt. Arabimus. We will err. Okay. Now in the perfect system, we need the perfect stem. So we go to the third principal part. Our stem is erav. So I'm just going to write that down. Perfect. Eravi, eravisti, eravit, eravimus, eravistus, eraverunt. So we have eravimus. We erred. We have erred. So that's kind of messy. We did err. All right, pluperfect. Erav eram, erav eras, erav erat, erav eramus, erav eratus, erav erant. Erav eramus. We had erred. Future perfect. Erav ero, erav eris, erav erit, erav erimus, erav eritus, erav erint. So erav erimus. We will have erred. Okay, I hope that by now this is becoming very easy for you. I believe you had a synopsis to do in your workbook last week. You need to know how to do this before we take the end of the book test. And by the way, there is an end of the book test. Yeah, which I will be sending out not this week, but next week, okay? This week we're just going to do the review, so you have one more week of review. Please, please, please know your second conjugation verbs as well, those principal parts. Our normal principal parts for second conjugation are monio, monere. Remember, the long ere is very important. Monui, monitus. Monio means I warn. Monere means to warn. It's the infinitive. What two important pieces of information do we get from the infinitive? One of them, if we take away the re, we get the stem, the present stem. Do you remember what else we get from the infinitive? The last three letters tell us what conjugation a verb is in. Every verb with an infinitive that ends in a, re is first conjugation. Every verb that with an infinitive that ends in long ere is second conjugation. Okay? Monui is the perfect tense, I warned, and monitus is just a participle used like an adjective. It just means warned. Okay? Let's do some sentences together. Okay. Lacus altus est parvus. Okay, let's look at the verb. We have est. It's the be verb. Sum est est. Sumus estis sunt. So this is the he, she, or it is. Now we need to see if there's anything that could be the he, she, or it. And I see lacus. Lacus is nominative. It can be a subject. Lake. The lake is. You remember what altus means? It's masculine and nominative and singular, so it goes with lake. Altus means high or deep. It's probably not a high lake, but the deep lake is small. The deep lake is small. Next up, milites. Equos vocabant. Start with the verb. Voco means call. And I see bombas bot, that means imperfect, and it means they. They were calling. Now I need to see what could be the they. I need to find a subject. And here I see an ending that's nominative and plural, so it can be a plural subject. The soldiers. The soldiers were calling. Now I'm looking for a direct object. And here I see a direct object, an accusative ending, it's plural, horses. The soldiers were calling the horses. I wonder what they were calling them. It was a Latin joke. Okay. Manus saxum tenuit. Start with the verb. Ooh, that's kind of tough. Tenui. Ui. It sounds like the third principal part of a second conjugation verb, and I think it is. Tenio, tenere, tenui. Tenio means hold. So we have the third principal part, so it must be one of the perfect tenses of hold. And it's got the isti it. So it's perfect tense. He, she, or it held. Or he, she, or it has held. Now, what could be the he, she, or it? Actually, either one of these could be. Manus can be nominative, and saxum can be nominative. Do rocks do a lot of holding? Probably not. What does manus mean? Hand. Do hands do holding? Ah, see, that makes more sense. The hand held. Could this be a direct object? Yes, it could be. It's neuter. The rock. The hand held a rock. Okay, next up. Bellum est non bonum. Verb. It's the be verb. Sum est, present tense, he, she, or it is. What could be the he, she, or it? How about war? War is bonum. Good. Do you remember what non means? Not. War is not good. Let's get this erased. Terra deum laudabit. Start with the verb. Laudo means praise. And I see the bo bis bit ending, so it's future. He, she, or it will praise. Is there anything here that could be the he, she, or it? Well, terra is nominative. The land or the world will praise. Do we have a direct object? This is an accusative ending. God. The land will praise God. All right. A couple more. Multi canes onium vulneraverant. Woo, that's a long word. Let's start. It's long and I left a letter out. Okay. Vulnero means wound. And I see vulnerabi, I see the third principal part. So it must be a perfect tense. One of the perfect tenses. And it's got the eram, eras, erat endings. It's pluperfect. They had wounded. Now I need to look and see if there's anything that could be the they. Well, this has not got a nominative plural ending, dogs. The dogs had wounded. What should you do with multi? Well, this is masculine and nominative and plural. And I'll be doggone, this is masculine and nominative and plural. Many dogs. Many dogs had wounded. Now we need a direct object. We have an accusative ending, the lamb. Many dogs had wounded the lamb. That's kind of a sad sentence. Okay. Metus manius patrem superaverit. Verb. Supero means overcome. And we have the third principal part, so it's one of the perfect tenses, and it's the one with the ero, eris, erit endings. So it's future perfect. He, she, or it will have overcome. What could be the he, she, or it? Well, metus is nominative, fear. Fear will have overcome. What should we do with manius? Well, it's masculine and singular and nominative, and so is metus. So I'm going to think it's great fear. Great fear will have overcome. Now I need a direct object. I have an accusative ending in patrem, the father. Great fear will have overcome the father. How do we do on those? I hope that those are getting easy for you by now. Let me scooch myself back over. I hope that you feel confident in doing those. I think it's always good for you to do them in that system, all right? Do the verb first, then find a subject and all the adjectives that might go with the subject, and then look for your direct object. If you have a be verb, don't look for a direct object, right? If you have a be verb, there is no direct object because be verbs don't show any action. Nothing's going to happen to anything in a sentence with a linking verb. All right. Please get your workbooks out now and turn to page 176 in your workbook. By the way, when you're reviewing, back to your student text, sorry, they have, as I pointed out on page 84, a sample from each conjugation and the be verb conjugated out for you in all 6 tenses. On page 85, they have all of the verbs you have learned in this entire book. They are all here. Remember, if it has a 1 in parentheses, it means it's got regular first conjugation principal parts. So I see porto has a 1, so its principal parts are porto, portari, portavi, portatus. If it has a 2 in parentheses, it has regular second conjugation principal parts. I see terio has a 2, so its principal parts are terio, terere, terui, teritus. You need to know those. You also, I already mentioned that you need to go through your nouns. Go through your sayings. All of your sayings. I believe they are all listed in the back of your student book, so someone could easily quiz you on them. Do them both ways. Go Latin to English, but also go English to Latin. all right? Because you're not just doing this lesson, you're practicing for the test I'm going to send out over the whole book. And there's really no reason for you not to get them all right. You have lots of time to review. If you have any questions, you can always call me and I will walk through it with you. Okay? So you have all this week, and then next week I'll be sending out the quiz. Let's take a look at your workbook now and see what you're doing there. On page 176, notice you're practicing principal parts and endings. So, what do they want you to do? Well, in the first set of boxes, they want you to, it says, actually it doesn't say it in my book. They want you to write out amo, a first conjugation verb. So principal parts, amo, amari, amavi, amatus. In the next line, meanings, I love, to love, I loved, loved. Endings, o, ari, avi, atis. All right, and then the second box down, they ask you to do it for monio. They ask you to write out irregular principal parts, endings, and then you will notice on page 177, it's mostly 177 is all your first conjugation verbs and a few pronouns. Do you remember the pronouns? Do you remember Harry? Yesterday. Hodie? Today. Crass? Remember, you procrastinate. You put it off till tomorrow. Right? Nunc? Remember nunc et numquam? Now or never. Tum means then. So go back and learn those too. Or don't learn them. Review them. You should have learned them. On page 178, they ask you to write out all the principal parts and the meanings for the second conjugation verbs you've learned. Okay. Now, on page 179, this is the heart of it. They ask you to conjugate completely. Amo, monio, and sum. You need to be able to do that. If you can't do it first try in your workbook, I want you to do it every day. Seriously. Pick one first conjugation verb, one second conjugation verb, and conjugate it out completely every day. Okay. It will help. Repetition helps. Now, on page 180, you get practice with your sayings. And they give you the English and they want you to come up with the Latin. So you need to be able to do them both directions. All right? So that's a lot to handle, I know. Because we're at the end of the year, but we still have another class period left, I'd like to do something that we haven't done a lot of this school year. I would like you to go to the very back of your book where they have the prayers. And let's do, now some of you did this with me last year. This would be a review for you, but I think this would be really good. Let's do the Signum Crucis, the sign of the cross. I want you to look at the words. Signum Crucis. Do you see sign? And then crucis is genitive, that's possessive, of the cross. You haven't used the genitive in this book. You will in second form Latin if you go on to do second form. So that means sign of the cross. And of course you know what that is. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. That is worthwhile learning if you don't already know it. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. And we have that genitive case popping up over and over again, which, like I said, we haven't done possessives in this book with the genitive case, but you will next year. So in the name of the Father, Patris, and of the Son, Filii, and of the Holy Spirit, Spiritus Sancti. Work on it. Say it every day. Write it out. Let's work on learning that. this week and next week. I think next week we might do another prayer, and we might also learn a fun song. But I want you to drill vocabulary every day this week. Now, in the back of your workbook, no, is it in the back of your workbook? I think it is. They've got a list of every single word you've learned in first form Latin. And they're numbered by the lesson in which you learned it. It would really be a good idea to drill yourself through that. I mean, it wouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to do them all every day. Certainly, you could do a third of them in 5 minutes or less. Do them over and over. Do them from Latin into English and English into Latin. This is particularly important if you want to move on to the second form Latin book, if you're going to do another year with me. You need to know these well. And so I think that time you spend reviewing is never time wasted. It's always helpful in the long run. Okay? Because I've said this before. The more you review and the better you know them, the more fun learning Latin is, the more fun translating Latin is, when you don't have to look everything up over and over again. All right? So I want you to go through, review, review, review. This lecture's a little short because this is on you. You guys are at an age where you are taking responsibility for your own learning, your own education. I can show things to you, but I can't make you learn them. Only you can make you learn them. I'm just here to help you. You are educating yourself. And this week, I'm handing the ball over to you, and I'm saying you need to practice, 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 till you can conjugate those verbs and translate them with no problem. Till you know all the nouns backwards and forwards, Latin to English and English to Latin. Till you know all the principal parts of all the verbs. Just a hint, I find that it is more helpful to do it a couple of times a day for a shorter amount of time. So say you want to spend 40 minutes a day doing Latin. Try doing 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon. That way you meet it more than once a day. And your mind returns to it more than once a day, and you will memorize things more quickly. As always, I am here with any questions, to answer any questions that you have, both in the lesson you just did. If you missed any and you don't know why, I want you to call me. And in the lesson you're about to do it and check it. If you miss anything and you don't know why, or if there's just anything you're not sure how it works, I want you to reach out to me. I'm right here, and I want to help you succeed. All right? So review, review, practice, practice. I will meet you here next week. We'll learn something fun. We'll do something fun next week. And I will be sending out the end of the year tests. Okay? Until I see you next time, you guys stay safe and well. Hang in there. Have a good week. Bye-bye.